This may be the world you want, the world you envision, but because of your mistakes, your missteps, this is the world you will get. And the only way to stop it, to save it, never listen to this turtle. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that knows that the secret to theorizing was inside of you all along. And just to start, I'm sure many of you are probably a little bit confused right now. Why did MatPat's voice suddenly drop a couple of octaves? Is this a true crime podcast now? Well, not exactly. Obviously, I am not MatPat. My name is Lee. It's great to meet you. I own 4 swords and I've lost a game of Mario Party to Vegeta. Well, his voice actor. He's a nice guy. I've actually been working behind the scenes here on the Theorist channels for going on 10 years now. No joke, I was the 3rd editor Matt ever hired all the way back in August of 2014. My very first episode was the Peach is Dead game theory, but I've since been able to keyframe my way out of the editor dungeon, and I've had a hand in film theory since the very beginning. I have written or edited countless videos for the channels. Literally, I tried to count them and I have no idea. They all kinda just blur together at some point. I think I did Gaster? Not Sans' Nest though, that was all Matt. Regardless, I know this is a big change, and I know it's a lot. I'd say that this meme that's been floating around really kinda sums it up best.
My time has come. You must continue your journey without me.
What are you? What?
But something else that this meme reminded me of, the fact that Kung Fu Panda 4 is right about to hit theaters as of the time of writing. And now that I've taken up the mantle of the film theorist, I can't wait to watch it. In case you don't know, Kung Fu Panda is about Po, a panda obsessed with Kung Fu and the martial arts masters that live in his village. Master Oogway the tortoise, the Furious 5, and Master Shifu, who is apparently a red panda. Despite not having any traditional Kung Fu training, Po is named the Dragon Warrior that will gain limitless power, much to the confusion and frustration of all the other masters. By the end, Po and the others learn that the limitless power is not some magical technique or hidden energy. It's the realization that you were special just the way you are. I was practically raised on these sorts of animated homages to martial arts like Jackie Chan Adventures and Shaolin Showdown, so I really connected with the Kung Fu Panda films. The wholesome message of loving yourself in 1, the heartfelt themes of family in 2, the killer animation in 3, and that's not even mentioning the multiple spin-off series and web shows and even a holiday special. But the thing I respected the most, the restraint of not using the song "Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting" until the 3rd movie. That is true power. But of course, when you consume that much content as a theorist, you're bound to notice some inconsistencies, specifically when it comes to everyone's favorite old kindly Kung Fu tortoise, Master Oogway. See, between the hours of meditation and giving out cryptic advice like
Quit, don't quit. Noodles.
He's creating more problems than he's solving. He is not the wise master that this series has made him out to be. In fact, he fails pretty much everyone he has ever taught, leaving his students in a worse place than where they started. And the most disgraceful part of it, his flaws have created cycles of abuse and miscommunication that threaten to go on and on unless someone steps up to stop it. Look within yourself and cook your noodles, loyal theorists. It's time for some Kung Fu fighting. Skadoosh! So how in the world am I gonna make the argument that adorable old Master Oogway is actually the absolute worst? Well, it comes down to what I have identified as his 3 major flaws: his lies, his teaching, and his legacy. Let's start with Oogway's first major flaw, his lies. The entire conflict of the first movie is built completely on Oogway's lies about the Dragon Warrior. See, the Dragon Warrior is a prodigy of Kung Fu who would be worthy to learn the secret held within the Dragon Scroll. When they open the scroll, the Dragon Warrior would be granted limitless power, something they love to bring up in the first movie.
You think it's that easy? That I'm just going to hand you the secret to limitless power?
The scroll has given him power!
The prophecy was first foretold by Master Oogway, who said that the Dragon Warrior would protect both the Valley of Peace and its inhabitants.
It is as Oogway foretold. You have brought peace to this valley and to me.
But at the climax of the first movie, we learn that the legend of the Dragon Warrior is a sham. After Po finally opens the scroll, he finds only a blank, shiny canvas, though he later sees himself in the scroll's reflection, realizing that
There is no secret ingredient.
the secret power of the Dragon Warrior was just to believe in yourself. Classic, the power was inside of you all along sort of stuff. Regardless, the legend of the Dragon Warrior was never true, and all of it was something that Oogway made up to encourage others to train in Kung Fu Fu, to get better and to protect the Valley of Peace. Basically, it was kind of a deterrent. If you're a bad guy, you wouldn't want to attack the Valley of Peace because it may cause the legendary Dragon Warrior to rise up and defeat you. But therein lies the problem. The prophecy doesn't do that. In fact, it does the opposite, creating more havoc for the Valley of Peace than it prevents. The villain of the first film, Tai Lung, was once a student of Shifu and Oogway who showed a natural talent in Kung Fu, enough so that Shifu considered him a serious candidate for Dragon Warrior. Tai Lung spent his whole life training, Shifu filling his head with stories that he was going to fulfill the prophecy. And because of this, Tai Lung pushed himself hard enough to the point of physical injury.
Who filled my head with dreams? Who drove me to train until my bones cracked?
And yet, as Tai Lung was about to be given the title of Dragon Warrior, shown that the secret of the power was just believing in himself, he was denied at the last hurdle. And why? Because Master Oogway got some bad vibes from him.
Oogway saw darkness in his heart and refused.
This ends up pushing Tai Lung over the edge as he goes on a rampage that terrorizes the Valley of Peace. Oogway's creation of the legend of the Dragon Warrior, this goal dangled before Tai Lung that he worked his entire life for, and that was never given to him with no explanation as to why, was the core reason why Tai Lung did his top 10 anime betrayal. If Oogway had never lied or explained to Tai Lung the truth about the Dragon Warrior instead of just walking away disappointed, Tai Lung probably would have been a pretty chill dude, a dedicated master of Kung Fu raised in the Valley of Peace, and potentially part of the Furious Five. But Tai Lung's fall from grace isn't the only preventable conflict created by Oogway's lie about the Dragon Warrior. In the video game adaptation of Kung Fu Panda 2, a Komodo dragon named Zhao Dan challenges Po because he wants to prove that the Dragon Warrior is not strong enough to stop him.
Gongmen's city should belong to the strong, the cunning, the ruthless. Someone like...
And the Legends of Awesomeness TV series has a ton of villains who have a bone to pick with the Dragon Warrior. Kim the Invincible, obsessed with battling the strongest fighters in the world, travels to China because he wants to defeat the fabled Dragon Warrior. Hundun, a former guard of Tai Lung's prison, blames the Dragon Warrior for all of his troubles and learns Kung Fu specifically so he can destroy him. Quan the Unkillable tries to kill Po partially because he wants to defeat the Dragon Warrior and regain his fame. Even the Emperor's advisor uses Po's title as the Dragon Warrior in an attempted plot to take the throne for himself. I could go on and on, but you get the point. Rather than the Dragon Warrior deterring the bad guys, so many villains in this world only see Po as an obstacle, someone to outsmart or overpower or defeat. If Master Oogway's long-term goal was to get people to learn Kung Fu, congratulations, it worked. But at what cost? The creation of how many villains? And as a result of it all, time and time again, danger is brought to the Valley of Peace. But that's hardly the worst thing that this tortoise has done. Oogway's second major flaw? His teaching. Master Oogway is just not as good of a teacher as this series makes him out to be, and his lessons actually hurt more people than they help. We've already talked at length about Tai Lung and Oogway's refusal to step in and take a guiding hand there, but it goes so much further, especially in the Legends of Awesomeness TV series. Similar to Tai Lung, another former student of the Jade Palace that went bad was Fang Huang. She was personally trained by Master Oogway, but as she became more powerful, she challenged Oogway for control of the Jade Palace. In the show, it's framed as if Fang Huang had darkness in her heart, similar to Tai Lung. But just listen to exactly how what Fang Huang did was described.
As he trained her, she just got stronger, and that's when she started to change. She challenged Oogway to fight, declaring that she would be the master of the Jade Palace.
That's it. No, she tried to murder all the students. No, she tried to enslave the valley. No, I'm going to kill you specifically, Oogway. All she did was challenge Oogway for mastery of the Jade Palace in a fair fight. And what did Oogway do in response? Instead of doing nothing like he did with Tai Lung, Oogway did something even worse. He created an owl-shaped cage that was inescapable, perfectly fit for Fang Huang. Even if it's all true and Fang Huang did start turning evil, which again, I'm not so sure of, all this means is that Oogway didn't even try talking to her. Instead, he saw the dark path that she started down and just decided that imprisoning her in an Iron Maiden was the best course of action, exactly like we saw with Tai Lung. For those of you keeping count at home, that is now 2 times where Oogway has seen someone going down a dark path and done nothing about it. In other cases, where there is definitely some innate evil in some of his students, Oogway takes no action situation before they hurt other people. Case in point, Ding was a kung fu student at the Jade Palace who had incredible telekinetic abilities. To his credit, Oogway recognized this talent, but instead of taking Ding under his wing, Oogway sent him away to an order of monks to train. This